Hi, Randy Jenkins here. We're going to do a discussion of vacant land. I've got a little bit of an outline. I'm going to jump over to MLS and we're going to look at some of the properties. When you're talking vacant land, it's size, of course, and really I should put price because that's really going to determine your ability to meet your criteria. Zoning, flood zones, paved roads. Paved roads mean no paving liens in the future. If you look at some of these deals on these dirt roads, you look like they're really cheap, but you might have a 20 or 30 or $50,000 paving lien in your future. So it makes real sense to pay a lot of attention. And I wouldn't even consider buying one that's not on a paved road and that's not in a flood zone. But for fun, let's go ahead and look at. Let's get rid of this guy here. He doesn't need to be here. All right, right now in Pasco County, there's 546 vacant lots. We can do this for any county. I'm doing it with Pasco. I live in Pasco. I was Mr. Pasco 2003, so we're going to use that as our illustration. There are 546 properties. If you look down here in the corner, available in Pasco County right now. In pendings, there are 60 properties that have a contract on them, and we're going to look at the solds. Now, we had a big event September 26th, which was Helene, which was about 4 months and, I don't know, 15 days ago. So let's do 135 days. What happened before Helene is a different world. And since then, we are in a new market. And so we've had 135 or 121 properties sell since Helene, 3,800, 5,500, all this cheap stuff. Look at all these transactions. Wow. Okay, well, we're not going to analyze the solds unless we get into a criteria, and then we definitely will. Let's look at the pendings just for fun. 65 of them. Look at this. $1 million property is pending on MLS. All right, so we're going to look at the actives. And if you're shopping, and it's likely you reached out to me because you're shopping, so there are 546 properties available. I urge you strongly, let's look at them. Let me just show you what's going to happen. So these properties down here are all going to disappear when we tighten up the criteria. They're not all going to disappear. But what you want to do, in my opinion, is you don't want to buy in the flood zones. So let's take those out. And now we're at 296 properties. I say you don't buy on a non-paved road because you don't want to have a paving lien in the future. Somebody else paid the paving lien. So let's say you're either an asphalt or a paved road. Now we're at 197 properties. Now we're going to have much more criteria, but so now there's not as many properties below those low numbers. A lot of them disappeared because they were on dirt roads and they were in flood zones. So we're going to go back to criteria. Now I went through all of the Newport Richey properties. Newport Richey has Moon Lake in it, and there's some real. Moon Lake is its own little market. It's where all the cheap properties are in Pasco County and Griffin Park and a couple other neighborhoods, but substantial number of properties in Moon Lake. Let's just go ahead and show you this. See, all these cheap properties are in Moon Lake. What I want to do, though, is I want to take you back into the slideshow here, and there's usage. We definitely need to talk about it, but let's talk about horse properties or properties that are zoned agricultural. And how do you shop for these properties, and whether we should be, if you're a 1 acre buyer, you very much are going to want to be considering whether you can have horses or goats or, well, chickens you can have pretty much everywhere, but not roosters. So in Newport Richey, there's 3 properties available that are zoned, that are 1 to 2 acres. And we'll look at the zoning. You can see here, this is a non-flood zone. And we can see that it's zoned AR, which is agricultural. So Mineola is in Osceola Heights. This is a mixed use community. So you may get a home that's really, really nice right next to a home that is a mobile home. And there are a lot of mobile homes in here. So this property is at the end of this little street here. And it is zoned agricultural, so that means you can have horses. This is $120,000. And what we always want to do is look at the price per acre. It's $114,000 an acre. Let's quickly look through. Hilltop is in Golden Acres. Now, Golden Acres, though it doesn't have a HOA, it does have some deed restrictions because they don't allow uh, mobile homes in Golden Acres. And what's going to happen is that we're going to talk about. Oh, they got the flag in the wrong place. I think it's this one right here. Uh, but we're going to talk about 426 days on the market. What that means is that this is not an attractive piece of property. It's $147,000 an acre. And if this was a good deal, it would have sold in the first week. Right now, we're a year and 6 months, no, 3 months into it. Okay, this one's a 320 days on the market, 9 months. One of the factors is not on one of my slides is the look at this. They don't have it marked in the right place. Okay, well, it is what it is. We're just going to have to skip through it, but we're looking at $144,000 an acre here. So now we want to go ahead and take out Newport Richey, and there are 24 more properties that are zoned 1 to 2 acres. So let's take a look at this. Now, this is Autumn Oaks. This is a deed restricted community. This is not going to be zoned AR. This is zoned this is zoned like a residential neighborhood. You're not going to be able to have horses here. And you know what we should do just to tie this down? Because if you want to buy in Autumn Oaks or one of these deed restricted communities, you're going to want to be in that community. You may decide you can't find what you want, and then you'll say, well, maybe I can buy something and build it. And that's a whole different game than what we're talking about. If you're reaching out to me regarding, buying land, it's because you likely want no deed restrictions. You likely might want to have animals, and you you might be shopping. Okay, so here we have 8 properties. If you look down here in the corner, that are zoned agricultural AR. Let's go ahead and add some of the other properties. Now we're up to 28. If we go up to 20 acres, the problem here is that we're going to see some prices that are going to be way beyond what a lot of you reading this here, $6 million. So the buyers who are buying this stuff, you're not on this call. We're going to say that maybe we can go up to, let's say, 300 grand is pretty good. Let's go to 300,000 or less. So let's tighten up the criteria. 300,000 and less. Now this is zoned AR. There are a number of other codes that we can add. AC brings us 1 property. ER brings us to 16 properties that are zoned agricultural or estate residential or the other weird agricultural where there's only 1. But these are all that are likely going to allow you to have horses. And what we do is we'll verify. And I'm going to talk about the verification process in a moment. Am I still recording? I think I am. So Peace Boulevard, $89,000, works out to $44,000 an acre. This is 2 acres. The challenge here is that you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars of clearing this. So, you see, hey, it's cheap. It's 90 grand plus 30 grand to make it so you can use it, or more, who knows. $90,000 on none. No, it's not on any street. How is that possible? Oh, look, and they put it in St. Pete or somewhere. No, I guess that's in Port Richey. All right, well. All right, so this is $84,000 an acre, and it's on a street that has no name. Gray Oak and Hudson, 1 to 2 acres, $84,000 an acre. Zephyr Hills, $109,000 an acre. Spring Hill, $116,000 an acre. All right, look at this, $60,000 an acre. This is 2 acres for $120,000 on Sand Oak Court. Nestled If you watch my video on bad words in real estate, we don't like nestled, but that's an attractive price. 80,000 an acre. Kent Grove it's Kent Grove is Kent Grove. Okay, here's 2 to 5 acres, works out to $61,000 an acre. One of the things we look for is the days on market. This is 100 days on market. And what does it say here? Well and septic needed. Yeah, it's vacant land. Now, if they have an address, this one has an address, 14645. Yeah, I looked at this earlier. The fact that it has an address might mean that it might have had a property on there, a dwelling. And here, see, an existing 125-foot deep well and a septic tank, last used in 2006. You can assume that's not going to pass inspection. But this is $76,000 an acre, and this is a nice area in Spring Hill. Duane Court, Dade City, 5 to 10 acres, works out to $31,000 an acre. Wow, you're going to spend a lot of money clearing this. And that's the trade-off. There's not a button for cleared or not cleared. Okay. Forge, interestingly, that's this little piece right here. I used to own this piece right here. I have a great story, but I'm not going to share it. But I have a great story about a landlocked piece of land that you couldn't reach and how we were able to get to it. Tower Road in Land O'Lakes, $205,000 an acre. This is exactly 1 acre. Akins, 2 to 5 acres, works out to almost $50,000 an acre. $130,000 an acre. That's kind of a main road, just like this 301. You could use it for commercial. If you have a business and you're looking for land, it's not zoned for it, but that doesn't matter. We can make magic maybe. All right, so what I want to do right now is anytime you do any criteria, you want to look at the pendings and the solds. So here's one on waxweed that's pending at $88,000 after 298 days. Oak Lake Ranchettes is very nice. Now this is, you can definitely have horses in Oak Lake Ranchettes. I've sold in here. Oh yeah, I think I actually know which lot that is. But yeah, that's very nice. This is $40,000 an acre. Isn't that nice? Okay, well, I'm going to recommend that one. Mineola is in Osceola Heights. It's pending at $315. These are pendings. What you want to do is, in any criteria that you're working on, you want to make sure that you have the ability that there's transactions, that there's liquidity. And I think this is what's known as a T lot. Let's see if they clicked on it correctly. No, it's not in the right spot. Because there's a house on this, and our subject property doesn't have a house. But it does have something, 4,200 square feet of cement, modern electric gate. Wow, $123,000 an acre. Pending at $209,000, 2.5 acres, $81,000. All right, so we need to look at the solds. Now, we only want to go back about 135 days. Everything prior to Helene. Helene changed the world. And since then, we have a whole new set of comps. We're not going to go back and look at the pre-Helene numbers. We want to look at what's happened since. Look, this is 0.97 acres. This could be a problem with your horse dream. Although it says 1.35 acres. Oh, you can also buy 0.97 acres right next door. And this sold for $45,000 in 6 days. We have the marker in the wrong spot. And the reason we look at the solds, it's like the stock market. It's what happened. It's not what, the asking price is somebody's dream of getting a great big number for their property. $79,000 sold for $63,000 an acre. Galveston, nice road. $80,000 sold for $77,000 an acre. Sold for $122,000 an acre. Sold for $145,000 an acre. All right, look at this. Sold for $36,000 an acre. This is 5 acres on Bosley. I'm very familiar with. Oh, I know. Oh, that's so wild. I know this property right here. I'll be listing this property right next door, and this just sold for 230. No, it sold for. They were asking 235. It sold for 180. All right, I've got to race through this. All right, I'm going to go back to what I want to talk about. All right, how to shop. All right, I just showed you how to shop, but here's what we want to talk about. It. What can you do with the property, and how do you know you can do what you do in dealing with the county? The county is unique in that there are people up front and those that answer the phone, and then there's the people in the back that are the career bureaucrats that get things done. And when you go in there and ask them a question, and this is the reason why I can't go and ask them a question. You could theoretically ask them a question, and with good intention, somebody at the front or on the phone might tell you something. And then subsequently, you could call back and talk to a different person and maybe find a different observation from them. But anything that comes from them that's in verbally is not bad. It's not binding. They can make a mistake. A lot of the really good people who work in government get recruited away. So someone who's really good might be recruited away by a developer or a home builder or somebody. So dealing with the county is kind of a challenge that you might get information that turns out subsequently you'll be saying, well, Donna said I could do it. And you say, well, Donna doesn't work here anymore and she was wrong. What I've found is that if you have a builder, the builders seem to know more than the county may know. And I know this specifically from a situation where I had a property where the county was wrong. And I knew they were wrong, but I couldn't prove it. Found out the buyer had a builder, and the builder explained to the county and to the buyer, and the buyer bought the property. And it was the first transaction, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago for over $70,000 an acre. And anyway, so if you have a builder to guide you, I cannot tell you, yes, you can do this. I can tell you, yeah, I think you can. And I'll give you the phone number, 727-847-2411, to call the county and see that, get you convinced that you can do what you want to do. And here's the weird thing. Even if you got it in writing and they said you could do something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can do it when you put your permit in. It goes to a number of different places, and it could be that you have a problem. The beauty of it is that our county, this county, is very good. So you call Jack Mariano and you call Catherine Starkey and you say, hey, they said I could do this. Can I get an exemption or an exception? And you go in front of the county commission and you tell them what you want to do, and you post a notice to the public. And if no one comes in and complains and they don't see a problem with it, you can get the usage or the zoning changed. Anyway, I'm Randy Jenkins, and by the way, I do a lot of content, and I'm having a webinar on February 20th at 7 p.m. If you look up here, it's randyj.zoom seminar, and I'll be talking about home buyers and selling, and talking about avoiding mistakes, and hoping to basically create content that I can use to market my business, as well as to provide education to buyers. And then when they're ready to do something, maybe they'll reach out and say, Randy Jenkins, I want him to be my guy. Anyway, appreciate the opportunity. Wish you the best. Bye now.